Hi guys, today I am going to discuss a question that gets asked all the time to me. It is how we afford our children and how we afford all this medical care for our sweet baby Azariah. So I think that it's pretty much the same as everyone else does, right? So you basically just do it. You wake up in the morning and you do it. Anyhow, so as far as Azariah's care, I'll go over that first. So he obviously has had a lot of care at doctors. He is not the only child in the world, or the only person in the world who has a lot of medical needs and care. And he would receive care just like any other child or person that needed care at the hospital or doctors. And we would get insurance for our whole family. That's what we have, is insurance through our whole family. And my husband works a full-time job, working often more than 40 hours a week. And because of that, we also choose to get his insurance. He has fairly good insurance, which I'm pleased with. What do you do when things aren't covered? You make it work. When things aren't covered, if it's a medical necessity at that moment, then you would purchase that product. If you didn't have that, you would make room in your budget for it. If you didn't have room in your budget for it, then you would see some place that you need to cut out, or you would see some place that you needed to increase your funds or your resources or your money. I think that maybe that's a lost art in life. But that's just how you do it. So for things that are not covered, then we purchase those items. If, say, it's like a bill that needs to get paid through the hospital, that is a lot of money. If you call the hospitals, then you can usually two things. One, they can give you like the cash payment price. Two, they can give you like a sliding fee scale as far as like your income to debt ratio. I don't know how they figure that out. Anyway, they can do those types of things. And then three, you can make a payment plan. There's many options for how you can pay your medical bills. So those are the things that we use in order to pay our medical bills. When we lived down in Florida, we made use of a teaching hospital because those things were a lot cheaper we didn't have insurance at the time, and if we were paying cash, then my husband was an independent contractor at that point. And if you paid cash, it was a lot less expensive than if you had insurance. So, I mean, I could get into like a whole topic of other countries, how they have free healthcare. I could also get into a whole topic of requiring appointments, like well child checks and well appointments and that type of stuff, when they're charging how much money for those types of appointments, and they're just seeing if the child's well. Those basically are not well child checks, they're welfare checks to make sure that the child isn't getting abused. They also are vaccine things, so your child can get a vaccine at those times. So there's a whole big philosophy of healthcare in America. I'm not going to get into that. I am just paying what needs to be paid as it needs to get paid. And if I need to do something else in order to make more money to pay my bills, then that's what I do. So in general, how do we pay for 15 children? We do. There are some things that we just don't do. We don't go on exotic vacations. You won't find us flying to the Caribbean. You won't find us going out to eat every night of the week. And because of that, we have extra funds to be able to take care of children. So it's just like where your priorities are. It's, It's where your priorities are and where your heart is, right? So figuring out what works for your family, taking your budget, figuring out your budget, what works for your budget, what you need to do in your resource area. There are times that there needs to be more resources, right? I'm very thankful the Lord had me start YouTube at the perfect time, because now I am getting a little income from YouTube, and that is helping to provide for all these extra things. So things that are not covered by insurance, extra gas for doctor's appointments. We have put a lot of money actually into vehicle repair during the past 6 months. And I feel very thankful that I have been able to help out in that way. Now, looking towards the future, unsure of what we're going to do, I do want to increase our resources. So I'm finding out and navigating ways that I can do that. So I think that is what happens in a normal household. I mean, if a family of 4 is not having enough resources, then the wise thing for that family of 4 to do is for somebody to cut back other resources, but if that's not possible, then to increase their income. It's kind of like a give and take. I think that we really definitely have lost that in society, because there's like credit cards and there's debt and there's all these things, but it's really, if you don't have enough money for the debts that you have, then you need to increase your income or cut back on some of the areas that you already are spending those dollars. We feel like every dollar should have something to it. We really feel like you should pay your bills, if at all possible, on time, in a timely manner. And because of that, I think that that gives us, in the past, it's really just given us a good reputation. It's given us good credit. So we haven't really had any issues. So I think that you might think that there's some magical formula because I have 15 kids. It's the same principles, really. It really is. It's the same principles. I'm trying to think what else somebody was asking. Homeschool. This is an honest question. If we received funding or whatever from the government, I guess there are some programs in certain states for funding for homeschool materials. No, we do not receive funding from the government for homeschool materials. We purchase all our homeschool materials. That's why a lot of times you'll see me like thrift a lot of things and then purchase things on top of that. But yes, we still pay taxes to our town, our land tax, which pays for the government schools. I'm not like, what is that, like an anarchist or something where I'm not going to pay taxes? No, our taxes are paid in a timely fashion. And that's up to, it's kind of up to them to decide what those resources are used for. I don't have to agree to it. I mean, I think that if you already purchased your home, I don't know why you should still have to pay taxes for it, but that's a whole other story. I guess the thing that bothers me at this season of my life, it doesn't really bother me, right? But it bothers me when I see older people who have purchased their house, even 30 years ago they purchased their house, and then they have Social Security, and because the price value in the area has gone up, their taxes are through the roof, and they're almost forced to leave their home when they work so hard to pay for it off. So those are the things that like bother me. But I think that where it says to pay Caesar what he's owed, that is kind of maybe some of the feelings that people were thinking in or going through in Jesus' time, and that we should be paying people for bills that we are owing them. So I feel like our bills should be paid. if at all possible. Obviously, there's things that come up, but I think that you need to be open and honest with people as far as if you're unable to pay a bill. I think that's the best policy, is just be open and honest with them. Hey, we're really struggling. Yeah, just for those who are having a hard time right now or have had a hard time in the past, like, yeah. Anyhow, that's how we pay for everything. I don't know. There so many ways to like save money and so many ways to not, like thrifting. Like, I think that's great. Buy used. Save the difference for things that you can't get used. That is a huge thing. Also, not having to buy top quality absolutely everything. I'm okay with buying a lesser quality if I'm only going to need it for a smaller time. There's some people that buy a higher quality and then they expect to have the resale value on it, and I think that's great too if you're able to do that. I'm just afraid that if I did something like that, that maybe I would overuse, or I would be very like panicky. Like, say I was to buy like a stroller that was like a really high-end stroller, and one of the kids like did something to it, and then I couldn't resell it for what I thought I could resell it for, then I think that that would kind of be upsetting, and I'd feel like I'd always have to be like, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. Whatever. It's, you know, a stroller. But I do know, especially in the area that we're at right now, lots of people will buy higher end things and then resell those. But I might be able to get some higher end things resold for a cheaper price than the cheap stuff. Now that might be kind of cool. All right. I don't know if you had specific questions around this, but that's just how we make it work. I think most people make it work the same way, but I don't know. How do you guys make it work? Hope y'all have a blessed and wonderful day.